Did I do that right? I sure hope I did. Hello, y'all. Y'all doing all right out there? Good, y'all. This is another show we're doing here on Brother Harrison Butkers. He suggests women stay home. His comment was disturbing for many women, but it also was celebrated by who? Many women. And it was celebrated by a lot of men as well as not celebrated. And I want to talk about this because it is a sensitive subject because, as you know, women can move from off the emotion and not logic. Men can be logical, but they could use their fists and brute strength to get a message across, which is why we did the P. Diddy show. So today we're going to talk about women and how they express themselves based off of what a man maybe think is right. Hello, everybody. Sirwalterj Jones Show. I'm here. It is a midday connection, baby. Come on in, Water's fine. Water's fine. Y'all all right out there? Good. Bunkers, so good to see y'all. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon for those of you who might be watching it later on. This Harrison Butkers speech at Rutgers, where is that? Benedictine? Is it Benedictine? This Catholic university, the man spoke the same way that any other person would speak when they're at church and the cameras are rolling. Many times a man would say whatever he says in his church and nobody would know what he said because wasn't important. There is a lot of videos that's popping up from people who think something is new, but it's not. I saw a video from Be Heard who is laughing at the woman who plays the guitar, and she's tearing with the young man in her church, and he's going crazy because he's like, what is this mess? He don't even know. He has no clue that I was raised that way. Maybe I'll do that show maybe Monday or Sunday or something. But I'm bringing that example up because this man spoke from what that university actually supports. These are the conservative right supported him so heavy on this, but this has always been their stance. The woman belongs at home. Now, with that statement, let me see if I could find a way to express what he meant. All right. I don't know what he meant. But I will say that a lot of men will take what he said and come to a conclusion on what they feel should be right. Ladies, you are either far left or you are far right. The middle is the woman who have children, who's raising the children in the home. She is married. She's taking care of her husband at home, and she just happened to have a life outside of the home. That is the middle. My hopes and prayers and thoughts is that Harrison Butkers was speaking of women who are in the middle. Because there are women who are career women who work a 9-to-5, but she comes home and she's able to juggle. She's able to be well balanced at home. Her children love her. They're being taken care of. The husband love her. And then she just happened to have something that she does outside that pleases her, that encourages her, that strengthens her, that gives her this ability to feel like she is an individual, even though her body is not hers, it belongs to her husband, and vice versa. This is how I raised my daughter. I'll talk about my daughter in just a minute. So what happened was, as the world continued to turn, women turned into feminists. And they burned their bras. And they were able to go to work and build things, because World War II came and the men were shipped off to fight in the war, and Rosie the Riveter started to get a taste of what it felt like to be a worker. She loved it, and many of them didn't return back to the home once the war was over. No problem. But if a man marries a woman, he is expecting her to do her role because she's expecting him to do his role, and then the both of them can do whatever they want to do. The problem with today's woman, and if the shoe fit, you wear it. It may not fit you. The problem with today's woman is that she is not taking care of the home at all. His comment, when I heard it, I felt like he was saying a woman who has a home should take care of it. Remember when I did that show with P. Diddy, about P. Diddy, and then there was a woman who attacked me saying, "What are you saying? Are you saying that women should?" And I think I shared that with my staff, and I'm hoping y'all will find it, because I want to be able to read what she said. If you can send that to me, it's on the P. Diddy thingy, and I would like for you to send it to me, because it was a very interesting comment. And her comment basically was everything I was saying in the show. She didn't hear me, my being well balanced, to say that men have a job and a response and women have a job and a response. So she started bringing up stuff that I didn't talk about in that show, even though I do different topics on different situations. I do shows on men, I do shows on women, I do shows on children, I do shows on husbands and wives, I do shows on pastors, all that. So what she wanted me to do was to talk about just this one thing for her, and talk about this other thing for her, and talk about this other thing for her, and stop talking about this. I don't know if it was the P. Diddy show. What was the show? I'm sure you will send it to me. All right, when you find it. So I want to go here and play this 3-minute video of what happened as we look for that comment, to show you all this commencement speech and how the news handled it.
Tonight, Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butkers still in the spotlight, days after his controversial graduation speech.
Be unapologetic in your masculinity, fighting against the cultural emasculation of men.
The speech, which included shots at the LGBTQ community and urged women to become homemakers, has been widely condemned. But tonight, that backlash drumming up sales.
Before this week, many casual NFL fans may not have been able to pick Butkers out of a lineup, but now take a look at this. His jersey is one of the top sellers on the NFL store, the #1 most popular amongst the Chiefs, and now both the men and the women's Butkers jerseys are completely sold out.
The Chiefs quickly adding more stock of those jerseys as some conservatives rally in support. Republican Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri posting, "Never more proud to call Harrison Butkers my friend." And several conservative media outlets publishing several articles arguing Butkers was right when he made those comments about women.
Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
The family of Chiefs owner Clark Hunt appearing to endorse that message. His daughter Gracie saying this on Fox and Friends.
I've had the most incredible mom who had the ability to stay home and be with us as kids growing up.
And his wife Tavia writing on Instagram, affirming motherhood and praising your wife is not bigoted. The speech was met with a standing ovation, but some students in the audience at Benedictine College upset with what they heard.
Getting married and having kids is not my ideal situation right now. It definitely made graduation feel a little less special.
Even the nuns that helped start the college saying Butkers' words do not represent the Catholic Benedictine liberal arts college that our founders envisioned.
That's a lie. The nuns had to do that because of the backlash, but that is a bold thing. The nuns are lying. I never thought I'd say that.
A growing chorus of women slamming the comments, including wives of fellow NFL players.
My life didn't start when I married my husband.
And a former Chiefs cheerleader.
When you said stay in your lane 10 plus times, bruh, take your own advice.
The LA Chargers even poking fun at Butker, releasing a Sims-style video showing him cooking and arranging flowers. While the NFL's chief diversity officer told People magazine his views are not those of the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs and Butker have not responded to requests for comment. PR and crisis management expert Molly McPherson says it's unlikely Butker will be quote-unquote canceled.
There are a number of reasons why Butker will not be canceled. One, there is a growing number of Catholic schools out there and colleges that are embracing traditional Catholic ideology. He falls directly in line with that. But also the Kansas City Chiefs, their ownership very much is in alignment with Butker's thinking.
And Tom, even local officials.
Their ownership is very much in line, and that college was very much in line.
Getting involved. The Kansas City's official X account posting this. Just a reminder that Harrison Butker lives in the city of Lee's Summit. They've since deleted that post and issued an apology. But Missouri's Attorney General Andrew Bailey says that he believes this was in retaliation for Butker's religious beliefs. And he also said this amounted to doxing, which is an internet term for sharing personal information without that person's permission. And he's now calling on Kansas City to release any documents related to that post.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
Yeah. Now, that is really sad, you all. That this is what's dividing us. But here's the thing. This has always been here, you all. This has always been here. Now, I'm going to show y'all the post that I was telling you about. Okay? I don't know why it's not... Okay, here it is. Here. All right. This was when I did the show called How Congress is Killing America. And Marjorie Taylor Greene says, your eyelashes, blah, blah, blah. And then Jasmine came back a few minutes later and talked about the bleach blonde, bad, built, butch body. Did I do that right? I didn't have to look at nothing to say that. I guess because everybody's making songs about it, it's becoming very popular. And Jasmine is now, she now owns the statement because she went and registered it, copyrighted it. Okay. So when I did that show, this woman comes in the comment section and says, okay, not all women are like that. You are stereotyping. Men fight and argue the same way. Didn't I not say that on the show, you all? She said, stop blaming women. She got hurt. Talk about absentee fathers and husbands who cheat. My very first show for the Sirwalterj show, October the 6th, 2014, at 4:00 p.m., the name of that show was called Why Do Men Cheat? That was the very first show I'd ever done under the umbrella of the Sirwalterj show. That show is still online. It's on Patreon. I'm sorry. There was no Patreon. Maybe it was back then. It's on Spreaker, Spreaker.com. The Sirwalterj show. It's a podcast, still up there. And back then, the podcast was tying to my YouTube channel, so it's Walter Jones' YouTube channel. I don't think it's Sirwalterj. I don't remember. Anyway, it's up there. That was my first show, and for 10 years, I have been sprinkling these topics here. This she says, women today have to be strong. How many P. Diddy's are out there? I had just did a show on P. Diddy. So she is telling me everything that I had already talked about. And when I read her comment, I basically came to a conclusion that hit dogs holler. My response was, we did talk about all of that, but you didn't show up to any of those shows. You think you dropped the mic, didn't you? You didn't show up. So, William Carter saying no one has posted a full video in context of what he actually said. Furthermore, no one from the Missouri Republican Party has called out the racists who were sending racist and threatening emails to the employee. William Carter, you're right, man. Let me tell you. These sound bites is something else. I like what, Van Zelle Hare says, you completely and wholly describe my wife. After her faith, I was her next priority, and then the children and our home. She was so good about our home that you might have mistaken her for being subservient, but she was known in the marketplace because she was a radio personality and a television host for the city of Columbus when she worked for the city. And he mentions, I know the Proverbs 31 woman gets thrown around so much, but I truly was blessed with this one. Now, Benzel's wife is with the Lord. All right. This was my mom and what he's saying here as well. Women, especially who are married, have a place in the home. And she needs to know that the reason why there are a lot of problems in the world is because she decided that the home was not a place for her. The Proverbs 31 woman, can I say something shocking to you all? The Proverbs 31 woman was not one woman. The Proverbs 31 woman was several women. Wasn't one. She was fictitious, meaning she wasn't a real person, just like how Jesus told parables. She was not a real person that you could give a name to. But she was a woman, and she wasn't just a woman, she was several. And so this was a story given to the king, Lemuel, okay? And this is the story that was told to him. And who could find this virtuous woman? And here are all the traits of what kind of woman? There's one woman who is virtuous. And if a woman is virtuous, these are all the things that she is capable of doing. Am I in trouble? How much trouble am I in? These are all the things she's capable of doing. A lot of it had a lot to do with her being at home, taking care of home. And then a lot of it had to do with her being a realtor. A lot of it had to do with her being able to sew and produce things and sell it. So she was in commerce. So she was several women. And the man is attracted to that girl right there. And when he comes home, he wants to see that woman at home, making sure that she is taking care of her responsibility as a woman, or her role as a woman. I'm going to say it differently. Her role as a woman is to make sure the home is kept. All right? Outside of that, she has other roles that she plays outside of the house, and he freely gives her the opportunity to do that. This Harrison Butkers focused on one aspect of the many roles of a virtuous woman, and the women got offended and they want him off the team. What does that has to do with what he said? Him playing ball. What that got to do with what he said at a private institution? Huh? I just don't understand. I just don't understand. So I don't really have any notes. I just want to talk off of my nugget. My nugget. All right, because I'm gonna go eat and I'm going to get my hair cut. So I see your comments, but let me say something to you all. I received an email. This typically happens. I get emails from you all, and a lot of it is encouraging. And most of you are want to encourage me on some things, and if some things that make you uncomfortable, you tell me that things are uncomfortable. So I want y'all to know that every now and then I get a message about my daughter, Rebecca Olivia Jones. And I need y'all to know that children are typically off the grid. When it comes to politics and famous pastors and whatever, their children are off limits. You will never hear me bring up Donald Trump's young lad. Now his two boys, they fully grown and they jumped in politics. But I do not ever mention that young man, the one who just graduated from, is it high school? Barron. I didn't mention Sasha and Malia. They are off the grid. And this is one reason why famous people hide their children from the public to protect them. They are off the grid. Do you understand? My daughter is 30 years old. She grown. You understand? So, and I got people coming from all over the place. I got Africans here. I got all kind of people here, and so you know, if I'm focused. Sometimes people say you didn't read my comment. I'm focused. There's 130 people here. Comments flying. I'm focused. So somebody had wrote me a message. I remember getting a text from a woman who was upset that I allowed my daughter to get pregnant. And she felt it was a shame that I was celebrating my daughter getting pregnant. My daughter is the opposite of what is typical. Typically, your daughters get pregnant in their teens. 16, 17, 18, 19. My daughter waited till she was in her mid to late 20s before this happened. As if she was trying to do it on purpose. So this message came through blaming me for my daughter laying with a man and getting pregnant. And so when my daughter got pregnant, had the baby, she gets pregnant again, and many people were saying, was it by the same guy? Was it by the same guy? You know, black people can say things that they really should keep in their brains. So every now and then I get a message from people who feel that I am playing a part in my daughter getting pregnant. Y'all, I ain't lying. So what I have discovered was that my personal life is more so on the front line than the scriptures that I read from and interpret. If you go on Google and type in Sirwalterj Jones, you're going to see that Google typically finishes the search for you. And you're going to see, if you type in the Sirwalterj Jones Show or Sirwalterj Jones, next to it, you're going to see wife, which means there's a whole lot of people want to know who is Walter married to, or who is Walter dating? Is he engaged? Where does he live? That's the Google search. Some are obsessed with my personal life more so than they are the scriptures. I'm used to it. I've been on the air for over 10 years under this name and another 5 years under another name. I'm used to it. And these are people who are in the comment sections with you all. So I received another message from someone who I feel was only reaching out because of concern. You see, some people are concerned, and if they were not concerned, they would leave me alone. So I believe this person does love me. But but the only thing about that is that Jesus was talking to John, the Revelator, and he was speaking to the 7 churches of Revelation of Asia Minor. And the first church that he spoke to, Ephesus, he says, you're doing a whole lot of good stuff. He says, but I have an ought with you. Sometimes people reach out to me about something that they're concerned about, and then I will address it with them. But then I would see other stuff in that message, and then I would say, yeah, but I'm concerned about you. My concern is about you. As it pertains to my daughter, people actually think I don't know what I'm doing. That I just don't know what I'm doing. The church treated pregnant girls like they were a piece of an outcast. When a girl got pregnant, the church treated her like she is in sin for 9 months. They kicked her out of the choir. They silenced her. They sat her down and told her she can't do this, can't do that. That is what the church did. I saw it too many times, and that Negro who impregnated her is still allowed to play the organ and the drums and the bass. Y'all better hear me. My daughter and I were when she was only, I don't know, 6 or 7. I can't remember how old she was when her mom and I separated. I couldn't tuck her in bed at night. My ex-wife at the time had custody of the children, so I could not see my daughter every day, and it tore a hole in my heart. It tore a hole in my heart. And I was like, God, I can't see her when I want to see her. And then I moved to South Dakota, 1,000 miles away. And I really couldn't see her. And I would drive to Chicago to pick her up for the summer months, which was very short. And then the summer months is only a couple months. And then she gone. And then my heart. So when I moved back to Chicago after several years, I was able to reconnect with my daughter. You all who've got daughters, they've always been in your life. Mine wasn't. I can call her, but that's about it. So when I would see how the church treated pregnant girls, I said, I will never do that to any woman. Ever. Ever. So, when my daughter got pregnant, she felt like the world ended for her. And what she did was she hesitantly, even though I knew she was pregnant, because she moped around the house like her mother did. And I knew she was, but she couldn't tell me. I had to open up the environment of conversation for her to tell me. And she sat right in this office, right in the chair, right in front of me, and reluctantly told me. She was shaking in her boots, and I had to love on my daughter. I know you all are saying you don't have to. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have to, because I need to explain something to you all, because it's very apropos to this lesson today. I know what I'm doing right now. And she felt free because her father didn't pound on the table and feel shame. And some father says, I disown you. I've seen that in our circles. So I loved on her. And I had a conversation with that young man who equally felt like, oh, I betrayed this man of God. Fast forward, it happens again. And now she's like, I can't tell my father, I must abort this baby. Any of y'all ever been in that situation where you committed a sin before God? He forgave you, and then you sinned again, and then you felt like, and what did God do? So what we do is we turn into gods, not the God that I know. We turn into people who look at a situation based off of our upbringing and our surroundings, and then point the finger at, I wouldn't do that if I were you. But you've never been in that situation. Do you understand? Come on, proud Adventists. There's no love like a father's love. I had to free her. And when I heard that she was wanting to abort the baby, I had to do it again. What? Love on her. I had to love on her. And I had to encourage her, don't do that. All of the shows I've done about abortion, and then this is what you want to do, you can't. Because you are going to punish me from having a grandchild. Others are going to call that child a bastard. They treat you like a bastard. The church treats you like a bastard. But children are a blessing, even though a sin happened, fornication happened, or adultery happened to have that child. But once that child comes on the scene, that child is still a blessing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think some of you need to open up just a little bit more, because the Pentecostal church has screwed us up. Mm-hmm. The Pentecostal church has screwed us up. And as soon as we mess up, we go to God for forgiveness. But as soon as somebody mess up twice or even 3 times, we like, see? So in this email, I get what the brother was trying to say. And he alluded that I possibly am giving off vibes, which is why my daughter feels free to have sex with a young man and then get pregnant. That I was giving off these vibes, that it's okay. Listen. My father was married to my mother for almost 60 years. They had 9 children. 9. We never saw my father cheat on my mother. We never saw him speak ill will of my mother. We never saw him flirting with any women in church, on the street. We went on all his jobs. We never saw him flirt with the women on the jobs. He often spoke well of my mom. He would call her throughout the day. We never, ever saw my father do anything unseemly to spark any negative vibes for us. But guess what? I was having sex with multiple women coming up. So was my brothers. And I have family members that have children out of wedlock. To say that the father is giving vibes, how do you explain my father? Should we blame my father for my brothers having sex as teenagers? And my sisters? Is it my father's fault? Was there any vibes? My daughter to this day has never seen me kiss a woman outside of my marriage. Never seen me do it. My daughter don't see different women coming in and out of my house. Never. She don't. My daughter is 30. And what my daughter does is between her, that man, and her God. And I have shown her the right way. And what a person decides to do after that is between her, that person, and her God. Do you understand? You got to know that. Chicago has got a lot of beautiful women. I have neighbors that are drop dead gorgeous. I got women at my church that are absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Wherever I go in Chicago, women, many of them undress on the streets, drop dead gorgeous. But they don't impress me. They ain't coming to my house. I'm not going to their house. I stay to myself. I'm in school. I'm on here talking to y'all. I'm in ministry. I'm doing all kind of stuff. I'm just busy. And I see the beautiful women, whether their butts are padded or not. Oh, that's theirs. They was born with it. I see them. And I just say, well, bless the Lord. Hallelujah. But have you ever seen in an argument, or you've been in an argument, and two people are arguing, and then they bring up something that has nothing to do with the argument? See, that's why you are and this typically what a woman would do. You see, this is why men can't tell a woman everything because of her incubating abilities. She will hold on to every jot and tittle, every iota, every scent, every smell. Monica Lewinsky held on to that dress. There's a white woman that came forth yesterday about P. Diddy taking advantage of her, and she took her cloth and wrapped it in a bag. It's in her closet, and even though this happened years ago, she held on to that because she was hoping the day was going to come. You see, women, they incubate, they hold on to things. So a man can't really express himself to her freely because he knows that one day she's going to use that against him. I am a very transparent brother. I tell y'all a whole lot of stuff that happened to me in the past. That's right. About 30 years. hold on. I tell people stuff that happened to me in the past, and what typically, especially women, would think that guy that I was in the past is still that guy right now. So when I was in arguments with a woman, and we're talking about something that happened, I don't care whether I didn't wash the dishes or whether I didn't walk her across the street, probably what have you. When it gets into an argument, then what she's going to do is bring up, and then she'll say, you see, you are and she's going to bring up something that happened to me in the past that I told her. That typically is what happened to men in conversations. So they shut down. They can't tell you because they feel that you're going to use it against them. Women have become wonderful and amazing prosecutors. So what they'll do is they'll believe that my past is my present. So if you say that I'm giving off vibes, you think that I'm still, So they will use the current situation to present what they always thought of you. So when somebody come to me in an email or a text and what have you and say some stuff and they hear chatter and blah, 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 they use that as an excuse to bring up something that they always thought about me. Do you understand? And then lastly, their solution is, why don't you get married? Let me tell y'all something about the subject of marriage as I shut this down and go to my barber. If you all think that marriage is always the answer, I got some land down there in Russia that I'm going to sell to you. Cheap, real cheap. All right, just sign on the dotted line and you'll have all the land you want in Russia. Because I need you to know that marriage is not always the answer. As a matter of fact, I was single for 10 years after my first marriage, for 10 years, and I didn't have many women problems at all. As soon as I said, I do, the women came out of the woodwork like I had never seen before. My wife was my covering, but I had to fight. You told Harper to beat me. All my life, while I was married, I had to fight off who? Church women. They were all up in my DMs. If they had my number, they was texting. They was writing letters. They were trying their best. And then what they would do is they would pile up with my wife, get close to my wife because that was their way into me. Women see marriage as a safety place. He's safe. He's disease-free. She's in love with the fact that he can take care of a woman and possibly children, take care of a home, and she is fascinated by that, so she wants that. And some of them may not want to pull him from the wife. She just wants to fulfill her fantasy. Which is why I wrote the book, The 4 Women That Men Desire. Those first 2 women, especially the second woman, the mistress. All mistresses don't want to marry him. All mistresses don't want him to leave. Many of them just want to stay the mistress. Marriage is not the answer. You think, especially if you think that I'm a hoe. If I'm a hoe, why would you force marriage on me? Guess what I'm going to do to her? A man needs to be changed within and show without before you start hooking him up with somebody. You all think that you're giving good sound advice, but you're not. So let me cap this off. My daughter, I'm so proud of her, and I made sure that my daughter knew that I was proud of her. Not proud that she laid with the man, who this man is not allowed to sleep in my house. You understand? Oh no, whatever. I can guarantee you this. And I know y'all like, you can't guarantee nothing. Girls can do whatever they do. Listen, that's fine. I don't care what your comment section is. But I can guarantee you that girl didn't get pregnant in my house. There are strict rules in my house, always been. And she has respected those rules. And if she decided to go outside there and get pregnant, that's between her man, and God. You understand? But whatever sin or crime she commits, I want to make sure she understands that forgiveness is always at the top of the ladder. Even though rebuke may happen, even though punishment, or even though chastisement, even though sickness and all these others, and stress. Okay, she's already stressed out. She got 2 kids. I mean, that my daughter, when I see her sleeping, she's exhausted because of 2 kids. She's like, Daddy, I ain't never having no more babies. I ain't never having no more babies. All right, whatever. Or you had those babies, and I'm going to love them. But let me tell you, if you think that I'm going to hide my daughter and my children because you think that exposing or showing them her with my 2 grandsons is promoting sex outside of marriage, something's wrong. Put your daughter in a box. Don't show her with the children, because what it's doing is it's causing people to look at you as a man of God, that you're celebrating that. Do you not understanding what you're saying here? There is no way in hell I'm going to hide my daughter and my grandchildren to make you feel comfortable. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. Not for you. I'm going to celebrate my daughter, her accomplishments, and my 2 grandchildren like I do my son and his baby out of wedlock. And you best believe, as a man of God, I watch myself around my children, what I say, what I do, how I interact with other women, and on, because I get it. So I'm saying this to say, the messages that come to me, I believe that these people have a heart, that they love me and they want, but I have an ought, because Jesus said he loved that first church and a couple other churches of Revelation. He says, I love you, but I have this one little ought. Just this one little thing. It's one little thing. My daughter and her man never stays with me because he got to sleep with me. Yep, he can't. Listen, that's exactly the same thing I said to my daughter. I said, listen, he can rest his head on the floor or what have you, but he can rest his head on my bedroom floor while I'm there. If he's too tired to go home, he can stay here in my room with me. And if he needs to get up to go pee, I put my camera in my room so that, the light turns on when something moves, and I'll wake up and go to the restroom with him. Y'all understand? Now listen. The day is coming where I'm going to shut down all my operations. I'm going to shut down YouTube one day, and I'm not going to be doing this forever. No, and it may be sooner than you think. I'm going to shut down the lives. I'll be done. I'll do pre-recorded shows, and then eventually I'll shut those down. All right, and then I'm going to shut down our monthly Zooms. I'm going to shut them down. And then eventually I'll shut down Patreon. All right. It's all going to shut down. So because the clock is ticking in my life, I cannot get off the beaded path and the direction that God has given me. He's given me this anointing to do this assignment, but it's a short period of time, right? So we're going to enjoy each other's company. I'm going to preach this gospel. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do card tricks. I'm going to pick up the phone, do my bits. I'm going to sing. I'm going to play the piano. We're going to love on each other. We're going to fight. We're going to disagree. And the day is coming when I'm going to shut it all down. All right? Just know that, because it was never my plans to do this forever. If you all can retire, so can I. My first step of retirement is July the 1st. I won't be playing my music at the church no more. And if they want me to play for funerals and weddings and bar mitzvahs, the answer is emphatically no. Get somebody else to do it. I'm shutting it down. That's my first step. I'm retiring. I've been doing that for 40 years. All right? Everything must stop, must cease. Why? I'm gonna be reaching my 60s, and like you all who retire on your jobs, I have every right and privilege to do the same thing. Retirement, like Pitt says, is a wonderful thing. And all I'm going to do, I will never stop preaching the gospel. I'll never stop teaching. You all will be able to go to a website, and you can get all my teachings in one place. And I'll keep uploading teachings and teachings, but all of it's got to stop. My sanity means more to me than anything on the earth. And then I'm going to retire, spend more time with my daughter, my grandchildren, my son in Atlanta, and they are engaged. They're going to get married, and I'm going to finally have a daughter-in-law. Chuck, once he's ready to settle down with Rebecca, and I'm going to have a son-in-law. And let me tell you, my life is going to be beautiful. I'm going to be drinking some kind of intoxicating alcoholic beverage on Fort Lauderdale Beach. Don't worry, I'm gonna have my nipples covered. I may have shorts on, but trust me, I'm gonna make sure that it's presentable with maybe some sandals on. And I'm gonna sit on the beach, and I'm gonna look at the sun or the moon or the stars and enjoy my life and look back and say, as I look back over my life and I think things over, I can truly say that I've been blessed. I've got a testimony. All right? Y'all take care of yourselves and one another. Listen, ladies, get back on your job, whatever that is. If you decide with your husband that you all are going to work a 9-to-5 job to help support the family, then you do that. But make sure that you still stay in your role, which means when you go home, your obligation is to your husband, and that if there's any children in that home, please rear them up in holiness and grace and respect. Feed them. If you got to clean the house, whatever you need to do. But the man, if he loves you, he will help you cook. He will help you clean. He will help you take care of the children. You understand? That's how it works. My father did a lot of cooking at the house. My mother did most of the cooking, but then when she was tired, my father went into the kitchen and he cooked. My father cleaned. When a man cleans, he cleans everything. When my father said it's time to clean the house, when he's talking to us, we clean the ceilings. We scrub the walls. He had a buffer. We buffed the floor. We swept it, mopped it, and buffed it. There was gum on the floor. We scraped the gum off the floor. When my father say clean, it's gonna be a thorough cleaning. I scrape walls now because my father taught me how to wash the walls in the house. You understand? So when a man loves you, he's going to make sure that you are comfortable. And in your duties, in your role as a woman, he will make sure that you get the help that you need. And if you're late for work, you was on your job too long and you didn't get time to come home to cook, he already got dinner ready for you. Even if he had to call DoorDash and bring dinner home with you, if he loves you, he's going to make your role easier. That's all I saw in my father's life. So if you just do your role. So Brother Harrison Butkers was speaking about his experience with his wife. He was speaking about the conservative right. He was speaking on a religious stance, and let him do what he do. That should not have went viral, but it only went viral because of today's woman feel that it's beneath her to take care of the home, as if a man is saying you need to be barefoot and pregnant. That is not what a good, loving man is saying to you. He's saying because you built a home, continue to build it and keep it, and don't ignore it, or you're going to have latchkey kids. And that Negro who robbed me, that one who carjacked me, that one who stuck me up or mugged me, is the kid that you decide to leave at home and raise himself up so you can have a career on some Fortune 500 job. You walked away from it. You understand? So You got to get your roles right. That home is valuable to a man, and if you keep that role, he will lasso the moon for you if you want it. I got to go, y'all. Get to this barber shop. It's storming outside, and this is what happens when you live in a storm drain. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves, one another. And if you are offended, listen, I can't apologize for the truth. I can't. We're going to keep loving each other like brothers and sisters. Me and my brothers, we still fight. And at the end of the day, we hug and kiss each other, and we love on each other, and we empower each other. But brothers and sisters going to fight. All right? Trust me. I got stalkers. And those stalkers are in the comment section. I know who they are. But I treat them with love and kindness and respect. And whatever they're trying to do to me is between them and God. I got a hedge around me, and you really can't touch me because God is protecting me. But my job is to make sure I stay on the beating path of holiness and respect. Because once I jump off that path, everything they do to me is justified. So I know I got stalkers, and I know their tactics, and they slip up. I know who they are because they slip up and they say certain things and they leave their residue behind. I'm like, yeah, I know who that is. Don't worry about that person. No, just ignore them. You know, because if you start changing because somebody said something to you, then they win. The enemy wins. Let the stalkers have their way, and the day is going to come when God's going to remove them, and another stalker is going to come because Satan tempted Jesus, and for 40 days, the Bible says he did it, and then he walked away, but the scripture says for a season, he came back. Don't worry, another stalker is coming back.
Fellas, does it seem like you can't get a good woman? Ladies, wonder why you can't keep a man? Then read The 4 Women That Men Desire, Volume 1, by Sirwalterj to figure out how to break the cycle. Go to Amazon.com to get your copy today.